Welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica. Along with me, we have Eric Dauphine, who is the District Engineer Administrator with DOTD, Acadiana Region. So happy to have you here with us. I'm excited. Not just happy, I'm excited.
Right. Thank you for having us.
You may not have the same excitement from me, but
No, we do. We appreciate it.
yes, but I am definitely happy to have you here in studio to kind of talk about all the projects that are within our coverage area. The first of which, and I think it's on the minds of so many St. Mary Parish residents and those who commute the area, is US 90 bridge over the Atchafalaya River. That was such a huge project that also came with some unfortunate delays. Can you maybe address what happened with that project?
Sure. I think a couple of the delays were attributed to storms that we had. I mean, it was Hurricane Delta and maybe Ida. Whenever those hurricanes come in or they're even posing a threat, we'll get the contractor to shut that area down. If you see on those bridges, or you'll remember they had these big containment systems that are just kind of dangling in there. So when we had that threat of that wind coming in, we'll go ahead and we'll take those things down. And then obviously it takes time to do that. Then we have to reset up. So that caused some delay. And then I know towards the end with COVID, there was a lot of delays associated with procurement of paint and other items that were needed to, there's a lot of that flow slowed down. So that did cause some delays as well.
And you mentioned something, material procurement, and just the delays in that. There are going to be some other projects that we mentioned that I'm noticing kind of a pattern, and I kind of find maybe that's just something nationwide. I mean, it's even affecting homeowners trying to build houses. I mean, that's something that's kind of just all over the place.
It is, and it's still pretty widespread. It's not as bad as it was a year ago, but we are still seeing some delays with a lot of electrical items. We were seeing delays with cable barriers or cable type materials. Paint is one of them. So there is gravel for asphalt. We're seeing some delays recently. So there is still some lingering effects with certain materials.
Well, I could definitely speak about the paint because I was doing some renovations in my own home, and paint was very hard to come by. But with that, there's a price tag, and it was about $12 million. With all those delays, does that boost up the price tag on projects like this?
It doesn't, no. We still have our bid unit prices, you know, so it's nothing more in cost aside from the cost for inconvenience.
Yeah.
But as far as the bid items, no, it doesn't typically do that. There are some instances where it does, but I don't think in this case that it caused any increase in price.
So this started back in 2019, and we are now in 2022, headed towards 2023. And if it serves me correctly, it opened right around October, late October, early November,
Correct.
When they finally opened up all the lanes on the US 90 bridge. Now we're going to hop along to the next bridge, which, to be honest with you, I think once it's gone, when you don't have the use of it, you really start to appreciate it more. There are not many, I guess, areas, cities, towns that share what we have. We have two bridges that cross over one body of water, and until it's gone, then you start to really say, I needed that bridge, I need that to get across. And unfortunately for pedestrians who use the LA 182 bridge over the Atchafalaya, they will be restricted from using that bridge as well, in addition to people who drive there, to drivers. That will go out when? When does that project begin?
We are thinking there was an assembly period extension for the procurement of paint on that project. So we're thinking about April of next year, April in the spring, we think that one's going to go. And you're right, it is going to be an inconvenience because the bridge will be shut down to vehicular and pedestrian traffic as of right now. And we're not sure how it's going to go and how the contract is set up. So we'll look at anything that we can do as the project progresses forward. But as of right now, that is the intent. And it looks like right now it's a closure for about 2.5 years.
Oh my God. Hey, you heard it here first, so do not be surprised. And this will definitely take place during hurricane season within the coming years. So that too could pose a problem. Let's cross our fingers and say our prayers that it doesn't. But as it stands right now, you're saying up to 2.5 years of downtime.
That is correct, yes. It's a 360 or 380 working day project. And if you take weather into account and all that, we probably have about 200 working days in a year. So we're looking at, a couple of years for sure. But when you add all of these other things into it, I'd venture to say 2.5 years is probably a fairly good starting point.
Now, when we come back from commercial break, I want to definitely talk about just the intricate pieces when it comes to this bridge, as opposed to the more modern bridge, which is the US 90 bridge. What kind of work will it take, to get that bridge up to today's standards? So come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast with yours truly. Oh, welcome back. I'm here with Eric Dauphine, who is the District Engineer Administrator with DOTD, the Acadiana Region, which is our coverage area. And I know you guys are waiting. You want all the answers to all the road projects that encompasses the DOTD area for us. So let's get back to talking about the LE 182 bridge over the Atchafalaya River. That bridge is much older, has a lot more intricate pieces than the US 90 bridge. And I believe, at least with the US 90 bridges, it was during my lifetime that it was built, but this 182 bridge has been here for a very long time. I dare say 100 years. Please forgive me if I'm off on that, but it's been a long time. Are you guys fearful going into, rehabbing bridges that old?
We're not. I mean, these bridges are routinely inspected. We have an in-house bridge inspection crew, and they're inspected on a routine basis. So there's no fears of anything that's going on. We've identified all of the structural repairs, whether it's structural metalwork and concrete repairs, and all of the painting and deck repairs and everything that needs to be done. And there's no fear of any of those repairs that need to be made.
Is it more challenging than the rehab work that was done on the 90 bridge?
It's going to have its own little intricacies. It's a little bit smaller bridge. Some of the metal work looks like it's a little bit tighter. So when when you put these containment systems up, it may be harder to get into this crevice or that area. But overall, it's the same type of concrete or structural repairs and the same type of sandblasting and painting overall. So there will probably be some little quirks here and there, but overall, same process.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us with the 182 bridge, that is the bridge that's most utilized by pedestrians. You have those who walk the bridge and those who bicycle across the bridge. Once they start, which we're expecting spring of 2023, there will be no access to pedestrians on bikes or by foot. So please keep that in mind. Does not mean go to the 90 bridge. Just means you may have to find a different mode of transportation to get from Berwick to Morgan City and vice versa. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. All right, so we're looking at spring of 2023 for that bridge, and shut down for 2.5 years. Again, when it's gone, you typically are like, wow, we really utilize both of those bridges. We're in a unique area. So we're just gonna have to just do what's necessary, and please drive safely. Let's kind of go through some of these other projects, either projects that have already been completed or those that are shortly to be underway. One of which, the cable barriers, and that's on US 90, that encompasses from like St. Mary and Assumption Parish. It is completed, and I notice anytime that I'm traveling further eastward that they save lives. I've seen there are lots of, not necessarily accidents, but the aftermath of vehicles that may have ventured into that area and they haven't been able to cross over the median or neutral ground area to get into oncoming traffic.
That's correct. They do save lives. And that project is complete. And again, just a brief overview of cable barriers. They are meant to basically stop a vehicle that's traveling this way from going into the oncoming traffic of the opposite lane. And also another thing that it can do is when a vehicle does veer off, it's not like a hard barrier where they would have some deflection back. That cable barrier actually catch that vehicle and kind of keep it on that path and hopefully save some lives either on this side or from veering back into that lane.
And is it more like a suspension? Are they suspension wires?
It's cables, but they're tight.
They're
very
tight.
tight.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, they're very tight.
Okay, okay. So if anything, you just have a messed up vehicle afterward, but you're still alive.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it does tear vehicles up.
Yes. Now, speaking of just safety measures, the rumble strips, I can't stand those things, but probably I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm veering off trying to grab something on the floor, grab something to drink, and all I hear, da, 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 and it drives me crazy, but they can save lives as well.
They can. So it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It caught your attention and made you get off the floor.
Yes.
Right? And that's what it is. So this was a district-wide project, and it's complete as well. And it is meant to, we go around and we'll look at different areas. We look at safety data, crash data that we may have, where we have run off the road accidents or maybe going across over the center line accidents. And when we identify those, this is a perfect project for that, to try and just catch those people, wake them up, and let them know there's a danger.
Well, this is getting really good. We've got much more to cover, so come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Eric Dauphine, who's the District Engineer Administrator with DOTD, the Acadiana Region. We're talking about projects that are underway. Let's head on over to the West End. Don't want to forget our viewers on that end, and they're like, hey, what's going on with roads on our end? And let's kind of start off with, there's the LA 182 overlay project. And I, for one, have actually been on that roadway, coming along nicely. I love the asphalting work that has been done, but it looks a little patchy. You have you have area that's nice and smooth, and all of a sudden you get back to you know, I'm me and my sound effects. You know, I'm not doing the greatest job.
That's all right. That's all right.
I'm doing my best here. I'm trying to paint a picture. So,
Yes.
so what's going on with that project? Because it is supposed to be completed sometime in December. We're right in November.
Right.
What's
That's right.
going on with that?
That was a patch mill and overlay project, and the roughness that you're seeing, that's the milled area, right?
Okay.
And you'll see a lot of areas it's already has the Bonda course on it. I think Bonda's done pretty much through the entirety of the project, and there's even some wearing course, which is that final course of asphalt down. It's probably about halfway through the project. We do have that other half left. The contractor is experiencing some delays on getting gravel needed to produce asphalt. This is why you probably haven't seen as much work going on here in the last, a little bit. But as soon as they do get that gravel, they'll come and they're going to finish up that last half of the project on that last lift of asphalt.
Yeah, I can't wait, because it's that part that I use all the time. So can't wait for you guys to finish it. Speaking of, another area that DOTD kind of does, and it's outside of just roads. I think we think about roads all the time. Roads, bridges with DOTD, but you also deal with some drainage work. And there's some drainage work that's going on LA 87, again, on West End, in that connecting area from Centerville to Franklin. LA 87, there's some drainage work going on. It's around Sugarcane area.
That's correct. So LA 87 is another patch mill and overlay project, but there was several cross drains going underneath LA 87 that had failed or were in the process of failing, deteriorated out, old corrugated metal pipes that were rusted. Where we're at now is we have actually replaced all of those cross drains and got to a point, and that happened right before sugarcane season started. And we did is we stopped the progress of the project during sugarcane season. And the reason being is that the roads there, you'll notice they're a little bit narrower than most roads, and there's not a lot of shoulder there.
Yes.
So being able to close one lane and have cones in it and still allow sugarcane traffic to get out with that road was a concern. So we've kind of just stopped that project and let that sugarcane season finish up. And as soon as it's finished, we'll get back and we'll start doing the patching and overlay the road and finish up the project.
Now, you brought up something that I'm not sure if you're able to answer, but speaking of that, not having shoulder work, do you think that would ever happen for that area?
Just to have additional shoulders? It's going to be difficult because to be able to get more shoulders, you have to push the ditch back, which means you need more right of way. So
I
to
doubt
do that,
those
you'd be able to.
sugarcane farmers would do it.
Or pipe in ditches, which becomes real expensive.
Oh, okay. Let's head back over here because we're talking about drainage work. And speaking of which, there's some at LA 70, 9th Street also. It's that area going, if you come off of 90 westbound and you make you drop down on the exit ramp going towards Marguerite Street through Morgan City. Oh, it's horrible. I'm just letting you know, it is horrible. Like, I'm talking about, you need strut work. struts, new struts on your vehicle. Or what's the status on that project?
So yeah, those failures there, we've kind of investigated those failures, and as we have pavement that's dropping and we're filling it in with asphalt, we've gone and we've looked into that drainage, and that's what's happening. We have some more failed drainage that's allowing the base of the road to get out and get into that, into the pipes, and that's what's causing those depressions. So we did have some interest from the mayor in putting a capital outlay project together and getting some funding for it. So we did look at it and develop a scope of work, which is a full reconstruction of the area there. And we did give him an estimated cost to do that. And I think they did submit a capital outlay project to be able to get that work done.
You passed the test, Mr. Eric Dauphine, because the information you gave me is the same information our mayor gave us.
That's good.
You didn't know you were coming to do a test today, did you?
That's it. I'm glad I passed. I'm glad I passed.
Yes, you did. So we're going to take another break. I promise you I won't have any other tests for you. We're just going to stick with the information. So come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast. We'll see you guys in just a minute. Welcome back, and if you've been rocking and rolling with us, we have just this last segment, and let's make it good. Let's talk about the Bayou Ramos Bridge. That, when I tell you, when it hits social media, it is a storm. Let's just say that. It's a storm that's brewing out there. Please address what's going on with the bridge.
Yeah. So we have identified, or we've procured a design firm to develop some plans to do the repairs. We are expecting those plans to be in within the next 2 to 3 months, and we're able to let that project out for bid to actually do the repair. So we're expecting in the March or April timeframe to hopefully actually see some construction to replace the damage that was done by the barge.
Yes, and what damage? It was a lot.
I'm
surprised you could even allow any cars to still traverse the bridge.
We can, yeah. So what happened is there was a widening. There was an original bridge, and then there was some widening, and where it struck, it kind of damaged that widening part. So we were still able to identify through bridge inspection that part of that bridge was still good enough to ride on, albeit not wide enough, and that's why it's down to the one lane. But we're still able to utilize the portion of it that wasn't damaged. But yes, there is some significant damage underneath there that needs to be addressed.
So you heard it here, March, springtime, 2023, we'll start to see some work. So stop calling me and hitting me up. You're getting right here from the horse's mouth. Let's go into Berwick now. And I've talked to the mayor within the last couple of months, and he's so excited. They're going to be getting this beautiful downtown sidewalk. And there are a lot of walkers. People utilize the sidewalks in Berwick. So I know a lot of those individuals will be happy as well. Yes,
ma'am. It is definitely going to be a nice project for the town. That project is, and it's mostly a local project. It kind of comes through DOTD just as a pass-through of funding. The locals, town of Berwick is handling the inspection and all that. But as an update, I think that there was an assembly period to procure materials that'll be ending here sometime this month. So I would expect by maybe the beginning of next month that we'll start seeing some activity on that one.
So we're going to start seeing DOTD pretty much all around this community.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Yeah, that's right. And we really want to see just some work done, because I'm telling you, I don't want to have to get a new vehicle. I don't want a new vehicle, especially going down 9th Street. Sorry, I had to bring that one back up. Okay, let's go to US 90. This LA 318, it's a stretch of roadway to, I think, LA 83, right? So there's an overlay for that as well.
There's a stretch of road, and it's a stretch of road that's bonded concrete overlay. It actually doesn't ride very bad, but there's a lot of cracks in it. And what we're trying to do is develop a project to overlay that section of road and try and protect that section of road before it does deteriorate to where it costs a lot more to redo. So it'll be a bonded concrete overlay of that section from, yes, I believe it is
318 to 83, yep. Right? And that again is on the west end of St. Mary Parish. And this you will see just about anywhere, any state, any parish, or wherever you are. But I always see these strips in the roadway, and of course I have been scared. I don't know if maybe it's my parents telling me don't speed because Louisiana State Police are tracking you. That's not always true.
Yeah,
typically it could be a DOTD project, right?
It could be, yeah. So a lot of times when we're trying to develop project or we're trying sometimes it's even when commercial developments are trying to come up, we require certain traffic impact analysis, and those things are typically traffic counters that you're seeing running across the road there.
You're just trying to get data.
That's it.
So I can go 5 miles over the speed limit without getting a ticket, right?
Yeah, that too won't give you a ticket. Somebody else might.
Good answer, good answer. All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Dauphine with DOTD. Thank you so much for giving me your time. Like I told you, I'm very excited to have you here because there's so many questions that the public has had. And instead of listening to me, I'm glad that you were here to dispel, disseminate, and give all the information that is necessary. As well as for you guys, make sure to subscribe to us. We are KWBJ TV 22. And also check us out on YouTube. We're KWBJ Live. Again, thank you, Ms. Dauphine.
Thank you. Appreciate the invite.
No problem. Okay, just stay right where you are.